my name's Ian. I'm English, but I live in Poland. I don't live in England, but I live in Poland. I've lived in Poland. If anyone knows where Poland is in the north of Europe. I've lived in Poland for nearly 20 years, and I moved here. I met my wife, and I teach English in Poland, and I have a little boy of 6 years old. Who am I speaking to?
Good afternoon.
Oh, hello.
This is Nandakishore, 8th grade student from Z.P.H.S Ilavaram. I would like to ask you a question. Can I ask, sir?
Yes, I can answer your question. I hope I can answer your question.
London Bridge is no longer in London. Why?
Yes. Well, there is London Bridge, but it's not the original London Bridge. The original London Bridge, it was too old and not strong, so they took this bridge down and they built a new bridge. So, for example, I worked in London Bridge, so there is a London Bridge. But does anybody know where London Bridge is? London Bridge is not in London anymore, but it is somewhere. Does anybody know where London Bridge is?
No.
London Bridge is in America.
Yes.
Somebody bought London Bridge and they took all the bridge and they made it in America. So London Bridge is now in America. So Bridge is in it's in Arizona.
Oh.
So London Bridge is in a desert. London Bridge, there is no water, but there is a bridge.
Yeah.
Sir, how are you?
Hello, I'm very good. Although today I'm a bit hot. Today in Poland it's hot. My office is hot.
My name is Taslim, an 8th grade student from Z.P.H.S Ilavaram. Here my question is, England is home to many favorite scientists. Could you please explain us about them?
So we have from history many scientists. I would say maybe that there are the three most famous are Isaac Newton. Does anybody know this name? So Isaac Newton is a man. He discovered something. The story is that he was sitting under a tree and an apple fell on his head, and he had, in English, say, a eureka moment. He understood that why is the apple dropping down, not going up? So he discovered a thing called gravity, the fact that we are all on the earth, but we stay on the ground. Without gravity, we would be floating. So Isaac Newton discovered gravity. I would say the next most famous would be Charles Darwin. He's a man who tried to discover where all people came from, how we became people. So it's called evolution. He wrote a book about evolution. So he was a naturalist and a botanist. He looked at animals and plants, and he tried to discover where we came from. And I think the next most, I think there are two more maybe. There is a man called Alexander Fleming, and he discovered antibiotics. So he discovered penicillin. So he was growing something and he got mold, something growing on this. And he discovered that this mold could help with infections. So he invented and tried to develop antibiotics. So he was a very useful man. And I think two more recent. Does anybody know a man called Stephen Hawking? He was a physicist. In English, you can call this pop science. He made it science which everybody can understand. So he tried to make science understandable for everyone. So he was very, very, very clever. WWW. This was the World Wide Web. So a man called Tim Berners-Lee, who was a computer scientist, he invented the internet, this connection of all of us. So we are all speaking to each other So you are, I don't know. You can probably tell me how many kilometers are you from Poland? It's, oh no, India is approximately to about 6,500 kilometers.
Oh,
So we are a very long way from each other, but we are still speaking and looking
yes,
at each other.
yes.
This is because of Tim Berners-Lee.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So next question.
Okay. Yes. Nandini, are you there?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Go ahead. Go ahead and ask the question.
Hello.
This is Nandini, a ninth grader from Z.P.H.S
Hello.
Ilavaram. Hello, sir. Here my question is:
Yes.
William Shakespeare is widely regarded as one of the greatest playwrights of all the time. Could you please tell us about the way he is respected in your country?
I mean, he's very well respected, and I don't know how the Indian school system is, but in England, when you go to school, when you do English, you have to read books and write essays about books, and always you have Shakespeare is included in these books. He's the most famous playwright in England, and he is very well respected. And also, he is very important because he brings lots of people to England. Lots of people come to see where he was born. And in London, there is his original theatre is still in London. It was rebuilt, but it's called the Globe Theatre. It's an open theatre in London. My mother was at the Globe Theatre last week. So yeah, he's very well respected, and it's something which is always at school. You read Shakespeare.
So, in fact, in India too, at the graduation level and the post-graduation level, and those who study the English literature, especially,
Exactly.
yeah, they have to read all his works. In fact, I myself,
and analyze them as well.
yes, I myself read all his works,
Okay.
including Macbeth and so many interesting things. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
My name is Soumya Sri, an 8th grade student from Z.P.H.S Ilavaram. Here my question is how many main dialects are in the UK? What dialect is widely accepted?
This is maybe not a difficult question, but this is different than India. So in England, there are dialects. I think I'm trying to think how many dialects there would be. I think there are 10 main dialects. There is, for example, Scottish, which is a dialect. There is Ireland, doesn't really the bit which is England doesn't speak Irish, but in Cornwall, which is the southwest, the bottom west part of England, they speak Cornish, and in Cornwall, a sign is in English and Cornish. And then there are some, for example, on the east of England. There are some in the north of England. For example, I lived on the northeast of England, and this will be maybe a different conversation we can have. This is a place called Newcastle, and the people from Newcastle are called Geordies. And this is maybe a difficult question to ask everyone. Sorry for speaking a lot, but in India, can you understand people who speak other dialects, or it's very difficult?
Yes, and it's not too difficult to understand, but there are a few words that we literally don't understand, even though they're part of my regional language.
My question, this is for everyone, if anyone can answer me, that in India, do people sound different from the north and the south and the west and the east, or they sound, when they speak, let's say Hindu, for example, does it sound very similar, or does it always sound different?
And
South Indians speak Telugu language.
Tamil like that, sir.
Ah.
North Indians speak Hindi.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
Maybe
two languages are different.
Okay. The language is different, but okay. I will explain what I'm saying. So I was born in a city called Leeds. Leeds is in the north of England. So the next city this way is Liverpool, is Manchester, and then the next city is Liverpool, and everybody sounds completely different. I lived in a place called Newcastle. Newcastle has a big river in the middle. And I lived in Newcastle, and people in Newcastle are called Geordies. People on the other side of the river, which is another city, but only a small bridge, they are from Sunderland. They are called Mackhams. And I can understand that someone is from Newcastle or Sunderland by the way they speak. So in England, you can tell where somebody comes from by the way they speak. They speak very differently. Sometimes, if I go to Scotland, in the very north of England, I can't understand people speaking English. I don't understand. Nothing. Zero. So in England, dialect is disappearing, is not so important, but accent is very important. Accent is the most important thing. Where my family live, everybody sounds nearly the same, but some places in England are very difficult to understand. They have a very strong accent. Sorry, that was a long explanation, but
Yeah.
So dialect is not so important now, but accent is very important.
Yes. So how about our accent that my students and me, and do you think that are we able to communicate with our accent?
Yes, exactly. I mean, I think this is also, this is something sorry for talking about. I live in Poland. When I speak Polish, which is a very difficult language, Polish is very, very difficult. I will ask you a question about your language in a minute. But Polish is very difficult, and people don't think that a non-Polish person should speak Polish, so they don't always understand me. But English people, there are lots of Indian people in England. There are lots of people from different countries, so we are good at understanding accents. We are good at understanding this. Okay. I'm sorry, I know you have some questions, but we can always do this question later. I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
So in your native language and in English, how many different ways can you say the number 2? Okay, it's a difficult question, but in English, you can say 2. For example, 2 books. But you can say, I was in a race and I came second. So in English, you can say 2 and second. That's all. In your language, how many different number 2s are there?
Yes, rundu. Is there
Okay.
any other way? Rundu.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there any other way to
say this word in your language?
No way.
Okay. So I live in Poland. In Poland, can you think how many ways you can say number 2 in Polish? But guess how many ways you can say number 2 in Polish?
Probably 2 or 3.
Nope. Definitely not. Many more.
Oh, quite interesting.
In Polish, the language which is not my language, but where I live, you can say number 2 in 16 different ways.
Wow.
Everything in Polish is difficult. Everything.
Okay. So you have been in Poland for a long time.
18 years.
Yeah, 18 years. So have you acquired the mastery over the Polish?
No, not at all. My son, he's very good at Polish. His mum is Polish, and he is
Oh.
very good at English, but I am very bad.
Yeah.
I am very bad. It's very difficult. Okay, sorry, I'll keep going.
Yeah.
So next question. What's
Yes,
your next question?
Mr. Hari, are you there? Mr. Hari. Yeah, go ahead.
Good afternoon,
Hello,
sir.
sir.
This is Hari Krishna, an 8th grade student from Z.P.H.S Ilavaram.
Hello,
Can I ask you a question, sir?
Of course you can.
Do you support English education system? What education system is your favorite? Why?
Okay, this is a very interesting question. My son is 6 years old. And next year he goes to school in Poland. Yeah, he is here now. Ollie, come say hello. This is my little boy. This is Alexander. This little person. He is going to go to school in Poland. Oh, Ollie, stop. In Poland, school is, again, I don't know in India how school is, but in Poland, at school, you have to learn lots of information. And in Poland, you learn information to not remember information. In England, school, you learn by doing things. So I like English school because you practice things. In Poland, you learn lots of information and you don't remember this information. So I like school, which is when you do things, when your teacher takes you somewhere and shows you something outside, or shows you, for example, something connected to nature or mathematics. This I like. I like school when you walk around and you look at things. This for me is interesting.
Yeah, learning by doing is always your right approach. In fact,
exactly.
In whether it is in India or Poland or anywhere, and in European continent, which education system is your favorite?
I would say I think my favorite, and I don't know if your students will understand this, but I am controversial. Oh. My favorite system, it's not Europe, but my favorite system is in Finland.
Oh.
And all of you would like to move to Finland when I tell you this. In Finland, there is no homework and no exams.
Yes, in India, many academicians, especially the educators, academicians, they are touring the Finland and especially the Scandinavian region to study the education system, because Finland has
very good.
The world famous education system. And
I mean, and I think it's an education which teaches people how to be people. If that makes sense.
And another interesting factor about the Finland education system is the educators are mostly respected there than the money that they earn.
Exactly. They are paid very well.
Yes.
In India, in England, in Poland, teachers are paid very badly. So I understand.
Yeah, Husni, over to you.
Exactly. Okay. Next question.
Husnia, over to you.
Yes, sir. Hello, sir. How are you, sir?
I am very good today. It's Friday, so it's good.
My name is Z.P.H.S I am a 7th grader. Can I ask you a question, sir?
Of course, you can ask a question. You can ask a question to him.
Why is the tikka masala widely considered the country's national dish?
Okay, this is a very interesting question, and I may get the geography wrong, but when lots of Indian people after the Second World War moved to England, they brought Indian food with them, and they worked with English people, and English people. So, for example, somebody would go to work with traditional Indian food, and they would eat this, and their English colleagues would try this and say, oh, this is amazing, this is delicious. And Indian people are very clever and work very hard and thought, okay, English people like this food, we will start cooking this food for them. And again, you can tell me this, in England, they normally make Indian food, which is for English people. It's not real Indian food.
Yes.
It's like English Indian food. My favorite restaurant in London is a restaurant from the south of India, and they make traditional English Indian food. It's only vegetarian, and it's very traditional Indian food. But most restaurants in England, they are not real Indian food.
Yeah, I visited the USA in 2022, where my friends of Americans, they took me to an Indian restaurant. There they ordered the same the chicken recipe, but authenticity, I mean, the Indian authenticity is a little bit lacking in that part.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I have lots of friends who visited India.
Yeah.
And I have friends, for example, who live in Tibet. I have lots of friends who live in this area of the world, and they always say that Indian food in India is completely different and much better.
Yes. So most of the Indians, they love to eat the food with a lot of spiciness.
Exactly.
In other countries like Europe and American, I think they lessen the spicy factor.
Exactly.
Yes, to suit the taste buds of the Europeans.
Exactly. We're not very good at spicy. He's terrible at spicy. He doesn't like spicy.
Yes.
Exactly.
If you really eat the spicy, the real authenticity of Indian spiciness, I think you might upset your stomach.
Yeah, exactly. That's why in England you have, I don't know if this is, because I know that in India and in England this is different, but in Indian restaurant you have vindaloo, and vindaloo in India is a different thing than in England, but it's very, very hot.
Yes.
And I can't eat this. It's impossible. It's totally.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you today?
I'm fine, sir. Would you allow me to ask me a question?
Oh, of course you can ask me a question.
Stonehenge is older than the Egypt. Could you please tell us something about it?
This is an interesting question, because my answer is not really. Because nobody knows how they made this. Nobody knows what this is for. And the stone, which this is made from, is from a very long way away from this place. It's from Wales, so it's from a very long way from this place. I think one of the things, it was a religious place, a place for worship. And I think it points in the direction of a line of sun. But nobody knows in England really what Stonehenge is and how it was built and why it was built. It's not a very good answer, but it's the only answer I can give.
Yeah.
Oh.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hello, good afternoon, sir. How are you? Oh, be careful.
I'm fine. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. I'll ask you another question in a minute. Yeah.
I am glad today to ask you a question.
Of course, you can ask me a question.
Could you please tell us about Big Bang?
Okay. So this is, in English, this is always false information, because everybody thinks Big Ben is this tower. And everybody thinks that Big Ben is the clock.
Yes.
But Big Ben is the bell inside the clock. This is Big Ben. So that the clock, the thing, bong, bong, this is Big Ben. So Big Ben is a bell. It's not the building, it's not the tower, it's not the clock, it's just the thing that makes the noise. That's Big Ben. So Big Ben is a big noisy bell.
Rehan, an 8th grade student from Z.P.H.S Ilavaram. Here
Hello.
my question is.
Yes.
Here my question is, could you please tell us about annual cheese competition?
Yes. England is a very strange place. We have lots of very strange sports which are not really sports. This is a competition which they hold every year in a place called Gloucestershire, and it's a very steep hill, very steep hill. Everybody stands at the top, and in English it's called a wheel of cheese. It's a big, like it looks like a wheel, but it's made of cheese. Be careful. And they roll this down the hill, and people run down this hill to catch this cheese. Every year, people break their legs, they break their arms. It's the most crazy thing you've ever seen in your life. But we have lots of sports like this in England. We have one sport, which is, so there is one sport, which is, I can't remember the name of the sport, but it's a small town or a village. And in this village, there are two pubs, place that sell beer. And everybody, so maybe 10,000 people come to this village once a year, and they have one ball. The ball is thrown in the middle, and 5,000 people on this side, 5,000 people on this side fight to take this ball to their pub. England is a very strange country.
Yes, Ryan, my question is, in Poland, how different is Poland from English when it comes to the food and weather?
It's really quite different. I have been in Poland for a very long time. When I moved to Poland, it didn't seem very different. It was not so new, but now things are very different. The food in India, you have food which is connected to, it's hot in India. You have certain kinds of things which grow in India. In Poland, there is meat and potatoes and vegetables. So most Polish food is connected to this, and English food is the same. In Poland, there are just different things, because Poland, till 30 years ago, was not a free country. So Poland was a very different place in the past. Now it's like a new country. So it's a strange thing for an English person to be in Poland. It's not easy to be English in Poland, I would say.
So yes, another question I would like to ask: what subjects do the Polish students learn at school?
In primary school, they learn only, I think they learn maths, English, and a kind of combination of science. Then in secondary school, they learn very, very, very many subjects. They have far more subjects to learn than we have in England. They do standard subjects like maths. So to pass school in Poland, you have to pass a maths exam, a Polish exam, and an English exam. Those are the standard exams. But then they do sciences. They do a very wide range of subjects, but very many. And they have lots of homework.
Yeah.
Lots of homework.
Another thing that I would like to know from you, in India, we have two education systems are there. One is public and another one is private. But private education system is so popular in India. Many parents, they would like to send their
I understand.
private school system. But these days, the public system is also gaining momentum, and the regional governments initiatives and different schemes they are introducing.
Supporting public education.
Yes, to attract the students. If you take my region, and in my region, especially my regional government has taken a drastic steps to attract the students. The initiatives are providing the free meal to the students in the afternoon.
This is an amazing thing.
Yeah, free uniform and free shoes and free free notebooks.
Yeah, this is a perfect idea. This is a very good idea.
Yes, above all, the government is also depositing the 15,000 Indian rupees into the students' accounts and
Okay.
actually just to encourage them to attend the schools.
Yeah, I understand.
So because of these initiatives, the government, I mean, public system is gaining momentum in my region.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, in Poland, I mean, in England it's very different. In England, you can ask me questions about this next time. But in Poland, the school system is very old-fashioned, and in Poland, the government give every family the currency is zloty. So they give every family for every child 500 zlotys, which is okay, but it would be much better if they gave children who didn't have money free books, free school meals, free transport to school. This would be more helpful than giving money. Much more helpful, because children would eat every day, children would have books, and children would learn. So this is, for me, is very important. This is the system in England, in India sounds much more sensible.
Yes.
To give children what they need to learn.
Yes. So how about the percentage of the encouragement for the which school is so popular? Which school system is popular in Poland, public or private?
Poland, I mean, it's public, really. I mean, because Poland is a new country, let's say. Private schools can be very good, but they are also often people with money who just buy education. They don't, because you pay, you get education, you get a certificate.
Yeah.
So it's in England, private schools are very, very, very good level of education, but are very, very expensive.
Yes.
So it's a different thing. In Poland, they are not the same as they are in England.
Yeah.
So my son will go to a public school. He will go to a public school.
So I have one last question now. The examination system. How is the examination system in Poland compared to the English?
So it's basically, that's maybe I am 52 years old. I'm quite old, but I was the last year in England to have written exams when I was 16. Now students have they have assessment for all the time at primary school. And then when you get to 18, you have A levels, advanced levels. But in Poland, you have exams when you are, what's my class? So when you are 15, you have exams. And most of your grade comes from an exam. And then when you are 18, you have matura, which is like A levels, which is also an exam. So lots of your mark comes from an exam. I like the English system because sometimes someone isn't good at exams, but they are good at practical things. So it's for me is more even system. So I would say England is a more even system.
So if a student doesn't perform well academically, if he doesn't score the marks that as it should be, so will he be demoted or will he be promoted?
Yes, he can be. Yeah, they can be. They can be taken down a year. And also, but there are different schools. There are like vocational schools. There are different kinds of schools. But the education system here is quite old-fashioned for me.
Yeah,
I'm quite progressive, so it's old-fashioned.
Yes. Thank you so much for your time.
You're very welcome. And as I said, if you and your students want to meet again, just send me the information. I'm happy to do this. It's fine. It's very nice. Very nice to meet you all.
It's our pleasure. It's our pleasure, and we will definitely come out with another session.
No problem.
Before we wind up this session, could you please give a final message to my students?
Yeah. So, if you want to do well at school, you have to listen to your teacher. This is the most important thing. And I think all of you are probably very polite and good children, but try to learn the most, for me, the things that you like most. This is the most important thing. Find the thing you like and try very hard with this. This is the most important thing from me, is that try to find something you like. This is very important. Very, very important. Okay. And the last thing is enjoy your weekend.